where is your focal point? Why does focal point matter? Well, let's think about it. Where did your eye immediately go when I put that photo on the screen? All of you are looking at that arrow, right? It's that arrow.
Definitely.
No, you're all looking at the red dot. Why? Because that's what the arrows tell you to do. Because it's a different color. Because it's something different. Begin to understand how to focus someone's eye on what I want you to see. I can make you look anywhere I want you to look. How many green apples are there? Everybody had to turn and look. How many red apples are there?
One.
Because it's different. Because of the contrast to it, right? Looking at different things, whether it's leading lines that lead up to a mountain or up to Big Bend. I can make your eyes move the way I want you to because of my photographs. Start looking and incorporating some of that. And then shoot tight. And what I mean by shoot tight is I want you to shoot tight. We do three things whenever we shoot. We shoot wide to set the scene. You guys remember the photo from the Show Me Center of all the crowd? Shoot wide to show me people are there. Shoot medium so that I can make out whatever I'm looking at, make out the subject, make out their shoes, make out everything, but then shoot tight to show me detail. If I just showed you that photo, you have no idea where you are. But if I show you all three, you might be able to name the city and the festival that you're at. Start telling stories from three different perspectives with three different styles of shooting. And then, shoot tighter. Make sure that you're getting in nice and tight. Faces sell. How many times am I going to say that? A lot. Faces sell. Mamas want to see faces, not the backs of heads, not the backs. Faces sell. And then, look at the image on your camera. I told you guys a few years ago that we had to have 3 pictures of everybody in our book, right? Everybody's in the book 3 times. We had, I don't remember how long ago it was, maybe 5 years. We had a case to where we missed like 3 weeks of school for snow and blah, blah, blah. And we had a couple of students that just weren't there, okay? So I asked the admins, hey, can we take group photos of the 7th through 12th grade? Sure, not a problem. Let's do that. So we decide, you know what, we're going to start taking group photos of everybody. So we start calling them down one at a time, right? So 7th grade gets there. We line them up in front of this nice little brick wall. I can see everybody's face. They're smiling. It works, right? Good. So what do? I hand my camera to my photo editor. Notice, photo editor. You do the rest of them. I'm going back in. It's May. It's hot. I'm fat. Here you go. That was the first frame. That one works, right? Now, there's 2 kids that we need, both of which are in the next grade. You want to take a guess as to which 2 kids it is that we need the photographs of, that we're taking group photos to begin with. It's him and him. And had my photographer just turned her camera over and looked at it and said, hey, Draven, scoot a little to the left. Hey, Daniel, scoot a little to the left. I can't see you. What happens? She takes it again. It's a great photograph. But she didn't. She said to go back to class, send me the next class. So she shoots all of them and then she brings them in and goes, here you go, Carter, it's done. So I start going through photos. That one's good. That one's good. And then I scream her name down the hall and I hear her come running. What'd I do? What'd I do? The entire shoot is ruined. We can't use it. We need him. And there's 2 heads in front of him. My eyes almost popped out of my head. Pay attention to what you're doing at the moment. Because remember, you really are freezing that moment in time. You don't get to go back. Sometimes we can try to do things again, but you don't get to go back, ever. Look at the image. Pay attention to the image. The next thing I want you to look at on your camera is this right here. If you're shooting Canon, it's called one shot. If you're shooting Sony's, it's called single shot. If you're shooting Nikons, it's called single frame, I think.
How do I get to that screen?
Hit info.
Info?
Yep, either info or display, one of the two. Hit it
Oh,
again.
right here? Right here?
Yep, hit it again. Let's go. How do we turn that off?
What?
Like your live view. Turn your live view off.
Oh, probably in my settings somewhere.
No, we're recording. Oh, there it is. Nope,
That's video. See, this is what I'm saying. Like when I'm in a hurry, I don't know. I don't know. When you put me on the spot, I don't know.
That's alright, give me a second. Use that
I can
computer.
figure it out,
Use that
but
computer.
you see it?
There we go. You
How'd
just
you
keep
do that?
hitting info.
Oh, okay.
So you're on AV right now.
Okay.
Okay, so all of you should have something that looks kind of like this. The Canons, it'll say one shot. The Sonys, it will say single frame or continuous focus.
Will it say one shot even if I'm still in AV?
Should, yes.
Miles, did you find it?
You're in turbo.
This
Yep,
is the other.
yep. So if you have an AF button on the back of your camera, you can hit it,
Okay.
and it will give you the three options. I haven't covered the three options yet. Hit info again.
Okay.
Go back to where you
Oh, don't sleep on it. Nope, your battery died.
Oh my goodness sakes, it was just
Yep, battery died.
So mine doesn't say one shot.
Okay.
It gives me a bunch of symbols. And I don't know what they mean.
Okay.
And this camera I have only had like 6 months, so I haven't.
Okay. So this is your shooter. So you have single shooting, high speed, continuous.
Okay, I had it on high speed continuous. So
Yep,
I had
that's
it on.
what you want. And then for this one, it's not a touchscreen. Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So you can go down here to that one. Nope, that's not true.
Is it? It's
Servo, there it is.
Uh-huh.
This one, you have those three options.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Alright, so,
She's.
yep. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so you have.
it's not. Okay, that's
Yeah. So you have single, you have auto servo, single servo, and continuous system. So then if you back it out further, you should have more options. But what you're gonna want right now is probably gonna be continuous servo. Okay? So what this does, this is not your click, click, click.
Oh, I thought it
No,
was.
no, this is how you focus. So for those of you who have this, put it on one shot. Go ahead and put your camera on one shot. If you have it, focus on my nose, press it halfway down and focus right here.
But you put mine on.
Just go to servo and go to one shot.
No, you're right.
Well, my touchscreen is not working.
I know it didn't work for me either very well.
Maybe I turned it off on accident.
Okay, so if you do one shot and you focus right here, and you hold it down right here, you're going to be focused on the ball. And as I step back, I'm going to get out of focus. Why? Why would I get out of focus?
Because it's gonna stay focused.
Because your focal point's going to stay right here, right? Now, there is a setting in there called servo, and this is what we're going to get to. If you can't change it, don't worry about it.
Okay.
But when you get to servo, you can put the focal point on my face, press it halfway down, and as I move, it will focus on me as I move. It'll hold that focus on me. Okay? You guys understand that?
Miles, did you find it?
Find what?
The one shot? You didn't find it either?
So if I can't find the one shot, what
Or the
button
servo.
is it that I can get into that setting? That's what frustrates me. My screen is touchscreen. This is how I turn it off.
So there's automatic autofocus. There's continuous autofocus. So your automatic focus or single shot autofocus would be one shot, and then that's continuous or servo.
Okay,
right
and
there.
where did you go to that?
So I went to
Menu.
Focus mode.
Focus mode. Okay,
Yep.
Miles, menu focus mode. And I'm on automatic focus,
Hmm?
so I need to change it.
All right, so at one shot, here, I'll give you the definitions of them. We'll use the Google definitions. The first one is one shot. It's when neither you nor your subject are moving. Think about when I'm taking prom portraits. I have a guy and girl in front of me. They walk up to the particular thing on the ground. They stand and go, cheese. I'm not moving, right? My photog is not moving. My subjects aren't moving. So I can shoot in one shot. Because I'll focus here, and we're good.
Did you put it on single shot, Susan?
I think did you do it on auto?
I think I put it on autofocus.
Oh, yeah, auto.
But you're going to go to continuous here in just a second.
Okay.
The second way to shoot is called servo. It's when either you or your subject is moving. Now, I used to say just your subject because I shoot a lot of basketball, I shoot a lot of football, I shoot a lot of baseball. Those guys move, right? Volleyball players move in and out. So I'll put that focal point on them, press it halfway down, and it focuses on them. It tracks them as they move. Okay? I was teaching a photo class about 8 years ago, and a lady called and said, "Hey Carter, I can't get my autofocus to work right." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, I'm trying to take pictures of barns." Okay, like you're not talking about Barnes Hospital, you're talking about like barns like with chickens. She goes, "Yeah, barns with chickens." Okay, she said, "I've got it on one shot because the barn's not moving, and yet it keeps giving me issues." Why? Talked to her for 20 minutes, and finally I said, "Okay, explain to me exactly what you're doing." She said, "Well, my husband's going down the highway at about 70 miles an hour, and I'm trying to take a picture out." You're moving.
Yeah.
The barn's not moving.
Yeah.
Go to servo. There you go. If you're moving or the subject's moving, we shoot it in servo, right? And then you have a third option, or some of you do. That third option is called all focus. Now, I'm going to let you guys decide when you would use all focus. When would you use it?
Both moving? Both moving?
Never.
I was gonna say never.
Never.
I would never use it.
Because you want your image what?
In focus.
In focus.
Yeah.
So you would never use it. It's supposed to be a hybrid. It's supposed to pick up and stop and then pick up and move, but it doesn't. Okay? One of the two. One shot, servo. Continuous, single focus. One of the two. Okay? Yes.
How do you change that?
You should have an AF button on the back of your camera.
AF, yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I pushed every button but that one.
Yep. All right. Any questions on that? Want to walk through a few of them just so you understand the difference.
So if you're taking a sports picture, would you want to be on that then?
Yep.
The AI focus? Okay.
Servo or one shot?
Oh,
You guys
servo.
tell me. Servo or one shot? Why is it one shot?
I don't know. The flame.
Either one of you are moving with the
His
fire.
core is not moving, right? JT's core, his face is not moving. The flames are, but he's not moving.
Servo.
Servo, why?
Because
Moving it.
And where's your
everything's
focal
moving,
point?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
picture. The whole
I'm
map.
putting my focal point right here because I want those colors that contrast real easily, and I can get that movement. You cannot move your face without moving your core. Face is what we want in focus. One shot, continuous. Or servo. One shot. Why?
Not moving.
Not moving unless there's an earthquake, right?
Yeah.
Way it goes. One shot or all servo?
Servo.
Nope.
Oh,
One shot.
why?
This is not moving. This is moving. This is not moving. Right? She's just throwing this stuff up in the air.
What would,
So-
on that one, what would have happened if you would have had it on?
It may not have focused on her. It may have just zoomed back and forth trying to find a focal point. Because it's a dark dance. This one? Servo. They're working together, aren't they? You're going to track one of them until they run into each other. Who do we focus on?
The middle girl?
Why?
Because that's the middle of the picture.
You're not going to focus on Paige. You're not going to focus on Katie, right? Because if I focus on either one of them, on the other side, they might be out of focus. But if I focus on Megan and I let that depth of field do its job, I can capture all of them in focus. Now the background's still soft. You can make out, you're in our gym, you can see it. But I want that depth of field wide enough that all of those girls are in focus. They look really mean getting off the bus, don't they? Bunch of timid, down there. Yeah. How about this one?
Single?
Probably servo because he was not sitting still.
Because they're my children. Because they do this. And they do this. And they do this. Notice they move. Because they're my children. So you're looking to capture
That's
movement.
hilarious.
You're looking for, even in a portrait session, you may have to go to servo just to keep them while they're moving around. How about this one?
Servo?
One shot.
The cord's not moving.
This is not
Oh,
moving,
not
right?
Servo.
Servo. There you go. Okay. Back to this. What is that?
That's your balance. You
Your
want that
exposure
to be
meter.
on 0.
You want it to be in the middle for the most part. Why? Because you want correct exposure, right? When we were outside shooting earlier, one of you guys said, well, I'm on AV, but my photo was really bright. It is possible that you are overexposing that image. So we may need to look at your exposure to see to get it back to the middle. However, there are times to overexpose an image. There are times to underexpose an image. Okay? That is normally what they look like when they're overexposed, underexposed, or properly exposed. Make sure you understand what it looks like when you're overexposing something and how to fix it. There are times that we'll shoot something darker because we want to allow a little of that shadow in. So pay attention to that as you're shooting. You
Is
guys-
that,
Hmm?
is that something that the cameras, like, there was the, feel like at a, oh, Susan wasn't there, it was at the activities banquet, and we were trying to, like, when they were testing the photo,
Mhm.
the kids took one, and it was really,
Really
like,
bright?
shot out, yeah,
Mhm.
and so Miles was, like, trying to get a manual, and was messing with the ISO, cause it, you know, whatever, but it could have been maybe the
Right.
exposure
So
setting.
when you're in
Out
manual,
of, like, it wasn't at 0.
the exposure is not going to matter that much. Exposure really comes in when you're in AV or TV, or A or S. S for Katie. She's got an icon. That's when you look at exposure, over and under, that kind of thing.
Okay.
The other thing to look at on exposure is, especially when you're out in bright sunlight, what are they wearing? Okay? You guys remember the baseball player I showed you just a minute ago that was pitching that had the white jersey with the black stripe? Okay, he's a white guy. So if I expose him properly, if I expose his jersey properly, he's going to be dark because although he's white, his skin is a lot darker than that white jersey. So I'm going to overexpose him about a third, which means that jersey is going to be super bright, but his face is going to be correct. You guys understand that? Works the opposite way if he's black. If I'm shooting someone who is dark and they're in a dark jersey, I'm going to have to underexpose so that I can get that proper exposure on their face.
And how do you change that? Mine's flashing on -3.
Go back.
So, yep. So there's several different ways to change that, and it has to do with, well, you're in manual, so you
So
can't.
it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope, only in AV or TV.
Okay.
So there are several of these out there to help you guys to understand how f-stop can change things, how a shutter speed can change things. Like I said, I'll send you guys all of these slides as well, so you'll have them. But paying attention to the details. Can you guys tell exactly what's in focus here?
The one glass
One
of wine
glass
that's
of
holding,
gin.
that they're holding.
Right. How do you create that image? You guys all know how to create this image now. How do you create the image?
Low f-stop.
Here you go. That's it.
Oh,
And-
that's it.
It doesn't matter how fast the shutter speed is, right? There's no real movement to
Right.
it. It's just a low f-stop. If I can hone that f-stop down so low that my depth of field is really thin, everything else is out of focus both ways.
And can you make it focus on the first glass or the last glass?
Sure.
Okay.
You guys all have different focal points in your camera, right?
Okay.
It'll show you what's in focus. Use it. Which one's in focus?
The tallest one?
This
Oh,
one.
no.
All the way over to the left. What's the difference in those two photographs? Shutter speed. One's faster, one's slower, right? Is that a fast shutter speed or a slow shutter speed?
Slow.
How do you know?
Because you can't see like more individual droplets.
You're showing the movement in that water, right? Opposed to that. That's a fast shutter speed. It's a nice pretty red barn at, what, 18 millimeters, isn't it? Nice pretty little red dot. Understand what lens you need before you go out.
Do you have one of those 300s, or do you have a bigger one?
I've got a bigger one.
What's the
I've
one
got
that
the
the
900.
kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Understand what you're looking for. Normal eyesight is about 50 millimeters. That's where how our eyes see. Our eyes see at about 50 millimeters. And then understanding how your camera works and what fisheye is. So fisheye comes in when you take a photo of someone and you compress their face in. Most of the time, if you're going to be shooting portraits or something like that, you want to be at 60 millimeters or higher. Notice on her at 60 millimeters, we're between 50 and 70, she starts looking the same all the way across. But when you go down that bottom row, her face starts getting compressed. It's like you take her ears and you push in on her head. It's called fisheye. So that compression starts whenever you get below 60 and you start looking at, okay, what am I doing to my model at this point? So if you shoot something with like a 17, you may get a big, it's called flaring. So you get a big flaring to where my forehead's even bigger than it is.
So you're talking about this, the 24-50 millimeter.
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about.
Yep.
And
So-
if you shoot with lower than 60?
Yep, for portraits. Now, if we're talking about a group shot, it's completely different. But if it's something that's up real close, you want to make sure that you're zoomed in further than you can be, or as far as you can be. You don't want to take, let me see your camera. What I don't want to do is I don't want to put this on 18 and then have Katie shoot it right here, because I'm going to look really goofy if I do that, okay? I would much rather her be on 55 and be back a ways, because I'm going to look much better that way. Still ugly, but just look much better. Any questions there? Yes, no? Okay. Assignment number 2. I need you to find a partner. That means talk. Find one group has to have 3.
Yes.
Who needs a partner?
I'll have to troubleshoot.
And we
Where
got
you get 'em out?
Good. I didn't know that.
Yep, I did. All right. Have you found your partner? Yep.
Oh, we're gonna take pictures of bubbles. I've tried to do this with my kids before.
Have you? Partners? Is it the 3 of you guys?
She's going over there.
You're over there. Okay. Partners?
Yeah,
Depends on
are
where we
have
take
an
it.
automat?
Partners.
Yes.
Okay. That'll work. You guys need one?
Here,
Okay.
oh, here, they can have this one, yeah.
Here, I got plenty of them, trust me. To tell you how many of these I have, I've done probably 60 workshops since we got married, and I still have these things left over. That's what happens when you get married in March. You don't know if it's going to be cold or hot or what. It was freezing cold on that baseball field when we got married. So we still had like 500 people there, which was crazy, but we didn't get to do the bowls. Okay, you guys have, what time is it right now? 11:39. You have 20 minutes. I want you to go play with bubbles, but here's what I want. I want you to work outside in a V. I want you to work at shooting as low of an f-stop as you can and as high of an f-stop as you can. And I want you to shoot around the bubbles. What do I mean shoot around the bubbles? Any clue? Nope. I want you to shoot around the bubbles. So I want the bubbles coming out, but I want the person's face. If you do it right, some of you, if you shoot a low enough f-stop, the bubbles should be out of focus. And then if you shoot a high f-stop, all of the bubbles and their face should be in focus.
Oh, so you want us, like her to take a picture of me and me to take a picture of
That's why you have partners.
Okay.
Well, I assume, but
I thought it was just bubbles.
I thought we were gonna be blowing bubbles and taking
Yeah,
pictures
yeah.
of
Nope. All right, guys, you have 20 minutes. I want the best portrait that you can get of your partner blowing bubbles.
Okay.
Go for it. My horrible handwriting.
So just assign on this to this computer?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see if I can load mine.
Oh shoot. I'm recording. I'm recording right at the minute.
Recording nothing?
I'm gonna, yeah.
Good luck.